Hi friends, welcome to today's video. My name's Stephanie and today I'm going to be sharing my favorite rose gold nail polishes with you. So last month I shared my favorite periwinkles in my favorite color series, and what better color to share for February than rose gold. I am glad that it worked out that way because I did already share my favorite reds and pinks months ago. But yeah, I am a big fan of rose gold, whether it's jewelry or just, I don't know, the finish in general. I just like it. But when it comes to rose gold nail polish, there's definitely a pretty wide range. You can probably tell from my lineup here that there's like the pinky kind of rose gold, but then it goes to the coppery bronzy ones. So I kind of have a little bit of everything in here, but yeah, without further ado, let me just show you my favorites. So starting with the more pinky rose golds, the first one that I have is definitely an oldie for my collection, as are a lot of these, but this one is Different Dimensions Moonbeam, and this is a very warm, mid-toned pink crelly leaning base with this beautiful gold shimmer and a ton of holographic sparkle. This one has such a great formula where it looks really nice and very full coverage on the first coat, but it's not entirely opaque, so I just need 2 coats to make this one fully opaque, and it is just so beautiful. You guys know that I just love a gold shimmer against a pink base, and with all the holo, this kind of did remind me of Cirque's Flamingo. So I ended up doing a little comparison, but Flamingo is a lot more sheer and more peachy, where I definitely wouldn't call that one a rose gold. I know Moonbeam is kind of pushing it, but I think it's so beautiful. The next one that I have is ILNP's Daydreamer, which I picked up during my Black Friday haul, and this is a really beautiful pink, ultra fine, metallic, flaky formula. When I first shared this one, I was saying that I don't know if this would be considered a rose gold because it definitely is very pink and also pretty silvery, but I feel like a lot of rose gold jewelry sort of looks like this color, maybe more so than the last shade, so I'm definitely a fan because I also love rose gold jewelry. So again, even though this one is very pink, I definitely think I would consider it like a rose gold metallic kind of shade, and it is just so beautiful, so sparkly, and I love how it looks in just 2 coats. The next and last of my more pinky rose golds is Holo Taco's Coral Chaser, and this one is just described as a warm, maybe red-leaning pink holographic. It definitely does have a coral kind of color to it, but I think it looks really pretty and works really well, especially compared to the previous 2 shades. I also love how it looks in one coat where it's just a little bit more sheer. This one just has such a beautiful formula, a beautiful color, and I love that you can still see the holo even under my desk lighting. It's not super strong, but definitely still noticeable. Now, of course, I also have to mention Play Rosé from Holo Taco, which was one of their very first micro glitter polishes. This one is supposed to be more of a true rose gold compared to Coral Chaser, but I feel like it looks very orangey or maybe peachy. I definitely have always loved this one as a rose gold glitter, but swatching this after the previous 3, I almost like it a little bit less just because of how warm it is. But I think it's mainly because I am just comparing it to those other shades. This on its own, or especially in a glitter gradient, is so pretty, and it's just a beautiful glitter. I especially love the gold glitters in this one. It's so gorgeous. Another oldie from my collection that I absolutely love is Cirque Colors Morganite, and this one actually did make a brief comeback when they did the Advent box and the holiday sets last year. This one came in one of the holiday sets that came with Peach Jelly and Fantasia, so I'd be curious to know if anybody happened to pick up that set just to get this polish. But Morganite is one of their facets polishes, which is basically their version of holographic jelly flakies, and mine is in the original formula, so it has more of that true shredded flake particle, and it is just so beautiful. It might not be super impressive on one coat, but definitely a nice little wash of color, but it just builds up so nicely in 2 and 3 coats. Since this one is several years old, if you couldn't tell from the old label, I'm not sure if the color has changed at all, but I still really like it. Another old favorite from my collection is Painted Polishes, Carnivals, and Cotton Candy, and this is just so pretty to me. It's kind of a mixture of both a linear holographic with a scattered holo glitter mixed in. So it is extra sparkly and it is just so elegant and so pretty. Again, it might not be super impressive on the first coat because this one is definitely pretty sheer. It does build up nicely on 2 coats, but I definitely see a lot of nail line. So for my longer nails, I wanted to do 3 to kind of cover that up a little bit more. And I just absolutely love this color. I feel like it's borderline almost a neutral kind of shade. So this might also be pushing the limits on if it's rose gold or not, but I always considered it one. Another old favorite of mine is Polish for Days Effulgent, and this one is, I think I would call a more cool toned rose gold, especially compared to the last shade. And it's also another step closer, leaning into the more coppery rose gold, which we will get to. But this one is just so beautiful to me. It has a really lovely formula, and the finish is surprisingly similar to the last polish, where it's kind of a combination of a linear hollow base, but there's also this shredded holographic flake in there, so there's just extra sparkle. It is just so beautiful, and I really love the color of this one. Even though it's a little sandy, I feel like it's still a really nice rose gold. Another cool toned rose gold that I love is Ave Stardust, and this one is more of a shimmer, almost metallic type of formula. It has a really strong icy flash to it, so it almost has like a champagne kind of color. I'm pretty sure this is described as a rose gold on Ave's website, and it's not normally what I would think of for rose gold, but I do really like this as an option, especially in the winter time. It is just such a beautiful color that perfectly pairs with other wintry shades, so I still really love it. You might be familiar with this next shade. This is China Glaze's 50 Shimmering Years that came out several years ago to celebrate Sesame Street's 50th anniversary. And this is definitely a staple rose gold glitter in my collection. It is such a shame that it was limited edition because I really feel like it is just such a perfect shade. It's kind of like this shimmer in a rose gold base, and there's also this scattered hollow glitter mixed in. I just love the finish of this one. It is just so pretty, so sparkly without being too in your face. So this is one shade that I love to use for glitter gradients. I feel like I couldn't do this video without including Cirque Colors Halcyon, which I don't even remember when it originally launched, but it is a rose gold ultra metallic type of finish. And again, if you couldn't tell from my bottle, it definitely is a super oldie for my collection. So unfortunately, I feel like it has tarnished a bit and kind of has a very strong kind of copper color. This one definitely did lean more on the copper side of the spectrum to begin with, but yeah, I don't love how this looks on me, at least as far as the color goes, because I think the finish is still really beautiful. I'm not usually one for metallic nails as like a full manicure. It's a little too bold and striking for my taste, but I think it's a perfect sort of finish for accents in nail art. So yeah, this one is iconic and such a classic. I need to know if you have this one. The cooler option that I have is Kathleen & Co.'s Rose Gold Digger, which is again another super oldie for my collection. And I would say that this has a pretty similar finish to Cirque's Halcyon, where it's very much like a shimmery metallic sort of vibe with a much cooler bronzy leaning color to it. Again, since this one is so old, I'm not quite sure how much the color has changed from the original. I feel like it can almost look a little too dark or brown, but I still really loved it, and this was my go-to for years. I especially loved using this polish when I would paint these rose gold half moons or even a rose gold dotacure. It is just such a beautiful accent. And last but certainly not least, I have ILNP's Juliette, which is definitely another classic, iconic rose gold shade. And this is in that same ultra metallic, flaky formula as Daydreamer. Unfortunately though, just like a few others in my collection, this is a really old polish and it sadly has tarnished a bit. So it just is not as pretty as it used to be. I wore this recently for my Christmas Skittle Mani, and I was just like, this is a lot darker than I remember it being. Like, it's very much like a bronze kind of color. So that is quite a shame because it was such a beautiful shade originally, but I still feel like I had to mention this one. I also would love to know if you have this classic in your collection. And finally, we have my rose gold collage, and this is just so satisfying to me just to see the spectrum of rose gold polishes. It's a shame that a few of them have kind of tarnished or just changed in color over the years, but I still really enjoy them, and I think my favorites are the top two rows. So that wraps up my favorite rose gold nail polishes. As always, I would love to know what you think of my picks, and especially if you have any of these in your collection. I know a lot of these were definitely some oldies in my collection that I've had for years and years. I'm also really curious to know where on the rose gold spectrum you land on. Like, do you prefer the more true pink kind of rose gold, the in-between that are almost like a little bit peachy? Or are you more of like a copper rose gold person? Because like I mentioned, pulling out some of those older shades in my collection, I was kind of surprised at how bronzy they look. Like, they're not even copper anymore, they're even darker than that. And unfortunately, I think that just comes down to the sort of metallic finish of them where they sort of get tarnished. I think color-wise, I definitely lean more towards like the earlier half of the range where they're more pink, like the jewelry, I guess. So make sure to leave your favorite rose gold down below so we can chat about it. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.